think I'm live. All right. I think I'm live. Let me see. See if I can find some comments here. If anyone can just let me know if you can hear me, that would help out. Got a few things to talk about today. I think I get a little bit of lag on my end. All right. Audio good, everybody? Can you guys hear me okay? All right. Looks good. Perfect. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. Today, I decided to do a live stream because I have a few things to talk about. It's also Friday. I don't want to spend all day editing. These videos take a long time to edit, so I figure we'll just do a live stream, and it's more fun. I get to interact with you guys a lot more. Meow. That's funny. It's cool. So first things first, obviously, hey, great way to close out the week in the green at least. So that's positive. Hopefully you guys are closing out the week with a little bit of a smile on your face. Before we kick this stream off, let me talk about something real quick. So a buddy of mine, Tucker, is getting married, and he asked me to be one of his groomsmen. And so he sent me this package, and in that package, he sent me this. Yeah. Kind of wild, huh? I died laughing when I saw that. So in the spirit of this live stream, we'll go ahead and light that up, and we'll have a little Elon candle with us. All right, so jokes aside, there's a few things I want to talk about today, and I actually made a list, and I never do this. I want to talk about Fed pivot. I want to talk about stock price today. I want to talk about Twitter, Q3 earnings, and candle. Well, we talked about candle. All right, so let's talk about the stock price first. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to take a look at this. So this is really, really interesting to me. So I'm not, if you guys know me at all, you know I'm not one to really care too much about technical analysis or anything of the sort. Let me get rid of all this. All right, so you should be able to see this decently. But there's something that's interesting that's happening here. So let me just delete that. So we had this like kind of double bottom, right? I know that's a big technical analysis thing with people, double bottom here, and it seemed like we ran off of that. But then we hit this new low, and it's not that much lower than what it was over here. It's like literally a couple bucks, but it almost seems like this is a triple, quadruple bottom, if you will, and we're bouncing off pretty aggressively off of that. Now, that's nothing really to get too bullish about because we have a long way to go, but it definitely seems like that $200 price or pre-stock split $300 is a very strong resistance. So I think that's very positive for the stock, and I think there's a lot of what happened today was a lot of short sellers not wanting to go into this weekend holding on to shorts or puts against Tesla. Why? Well, as we all know, there is a Twitter overhang on Tesla. Now, I didn't really think there was a overhang or that had much to do with anything with the price reaction that Tesla's had. But Gary Black, if you guys watched our live stream for Q3 earnings, I mean, he said it, and he's not wrong. Ever since Elon announced the Twitter acquisition, we have just been going down when it comes to Tesla. And Tesla was actually holding up rather well for the most part. Now, I still don't know if it really has much to do with anything, but you can't deny that the stock market, or at least investors in Tesla, short-term investors, might get a little spooked here and there with the idea that Elon might have to sell some more. However, plot twist, it looks like Elon may not have to sell anything at all in order to get the right amount of funding so that they can purchase Twitter. He's out there, reaching out to friends, reaching out to different hedge funds, investment firms, and trying to get as much money as he can. So that's awesome. On the other hand, there's another plot twist. Here comes Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and they may put a kibosh on the whole deal, or so rumor has it. Now, I don't think that's actually going to happen. I think the deal is going to go through. I know there's a lot of, if you watch CNBC at all today, everybody's speculating, is Musk playing 5D chess with everybody, and all of this was one big elaborate plan. That's why he talked about Ukraine. That's why he sent the Starlink satellites. It was this all big. He's just, puppeting with all of us. And, I almost feel like the greatest or the most amazing thing Elon has accomplished is the fact that any little move he makes that maybe it just tilts things in his favor, everybody thinks, oh, he just thought of this so long ago. It's just, he's just toying with all of us. It's kind of comical. I almost imagine he's sitting on the toilet tweeting, and then all this stuff, like everyone just, it cascades, domino effects and things happen. Everyone's like, oh my God, he's amazing. He's like, hey, I'm just taking a dump over here. Like, you guys are really reading into my bathroom cycle way too much. But anyways, so I think the deal is still going to go through, which I'm happy about. It's been painful. It's been a lot of drama. It's been a headache. But I do think having a platform like a WeChat, like what they have in China, I think that'd be awesome. And it'd also be awesome to have everything in one platform, whether it's your transaction, whether it's like YouTube videos, but on Twitter. I mean, there's definitely a gap there. I mean, even like in the Far East, all these countries like Singapore has it, Thailand has it. They all have these what they call super apps, where it's like all these functionalities in one app. But here in the States, for some reason, we don't have anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. All right, enough of Twitter. Let's see. Hey, Kendall, good to see you. All right, so you have one of these candles. Oh, that's funny. Let's talk about what I have here, the Fed pivot. Okay, so this is something that I think is kind of a big deal, and I've been kind of hammering. I've been banging on the table about this for a while. Let me again just plug myself a little bit here real quick. That sounded weird. Plug myself. So this is my Twitter, and by the way, I had somebody reach out saying that they couldn't find me on Twitter. Here it is. This is how you can find me on Twitter. Pretty easy. But anyways, if I scroll down, you'll see this tweet I've had pinned for a while now. On October 6th, I said Fed pivots before FSD beta wide release end of year. Book it. Obviously, the book it is joking around. Farzad always says that. But I really do think the Fed pivots before the end of the year. In other words, before FSD beta goes wide release. Look, today, this was the main reason the market rallied. All right. It had nothing to do with Twitter news, in my opinion. It had nothing to do with Tesla. The market really moved because of what the Fed is essentially trying to get a message out there. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't think this is a big conspiracy theory. The Fed does this intentionally. They leak certain things, and they'll have certain people talk in certain ways so that they can get a certain reaction out of the market. And right now, it seems like they're trying to prepare us for a potential easing of rate hikes. So right now, we know there's going to be a 75 basis point rate hike come November 2nd, right? That's booked. There's very little chance that changes, right? But come December, everybody's kind of been thinking it's going to be another 75, but with a lot of the talk we're hearing now, it sounds like maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll just be 50 basis points, because that is what the Fed guided to, right? That is what the dot plot shows that we're gonna have. And so again, I'm not crazy. Like, take a look at this. I'm gonna show you a couple things. If you type in Fed pivot right now, right, you'll see all these things just talking about the Fed pivot, right? Dow Jones, S&P 500 gain after getting a Fed pivot lifeline, right? It's just all these kinds of things. And if you go deeper into it, you'll see here Mary Daly. So she's the San Francisco Fed Reserve Chairman. And she essentially came out today talking about it might be time to slow down the speed of these rate hikes. Okay, that is why the market ran today. Now, granted, the Philadelphia Fed Reserve Chairman yesterday kind of said the opposite, right? He essentially said, oh, we got to go to 5%. But the point is, it seems like there's some tug of war here now. Now, I also think it's intentional. I think they're doing this intentional. I think they're speaking out intentionally. I don't think any of this is by accident or coincidence, but this is why the market rallied. Now, I will give you, I do think part of why Tesla rallied is people closing out on shorts and puts going into the weekend, because what's the big thesis right now with regards to shorting Tesla? I mean, it's almost stupid to short right now, right? If you're shorting at 300, at 400, or 900, 1200 pre-split, okay, you can almost rationalize that, right? Because we had ran up so much, like you can rationalize a short or buying a put because you think, hey, it's going to come down a little bit. You can rationalize that. But when the stock's down 50%, right? in a year. When the stock is back to a place where Tesla was before Berlin, before Austin, before the progress to FSD, when they only delivered, what was it, 500,000 vehicles, and now they're set to do 1.5 million or 1.3 million. FSD is about to go wide release. Berlin, Austin are ramping up pretty decently. China's open. I mean, when you're at that same price, it's really foolish to be shorting a stock at that point. Even if you don't believe, even if you think it's overvalued, it's already come down a lot. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So why are people shorting? Well, they're shorting because there's a chance that Elon still has to sell more shares to purchase Twitter, right? He might have to sell 3 to 5 billion is what people have been saying on the news today in articles. So if that happens, okay, there is a delta that they might be able to grab there. However, if over the weekend, Elon gets all the investors he needs, that he gets funding for the Twitter deal, and he tweets out those 2 words, funding secured, boom, that blows them up over the weekend. Come Monday, you'll see a 5-10% pop in the stock for sure. So keep an eye out for that because there's a greater than 0% chance that happens. All right, so we talked about the Fed pivot. I'm convinced it's going to happen. I think we need to. I'm of the mindset that we are in a recession, right? Look around. I mean, unless again, sometimes we get stuck in our own, I hate the word echo chamber, but we get used to what we see in our surroundings. So when things change in our own surroundings, perhaps that amplifies it and we extrapolate that to be the ground truth for everyone. Okay, that might be what I'm doing. But here where I live, I see drinks going, like a cost for a drink, right? Like a cocktail. That's up about 20, 30%. I see food prices soaring and I see shelves essentially empty. I see people still going out, but everything is so much more expensive. And I see people talking about this so much, right? So there is inflation baked into the system, but the thing is, I also see inflation coming down. So while there's still inflation with like things like food and maybe some real estate, I do see people saying, okay, well, things are too expensive. I don't have enough money. I have to stop spending, right? I see people changing their vacations. I see people deciding not to buy couches. I see people not buying cars. I see people making all these different decisions because of these rate hikes are starting to trickle in, right? So all this is bringing things down as far as demand goes. So there's this interesting juxtaposition where there's clearly still inflation in the system, but I don't think it's that we need prices to come down as much as we need them to not continue to go up. And I think we're clearly seeing things not to go up while we're seeing prices come down in other things, right? In more so manufacturing places or manufacturing commodities, right? Whether it's metals, whether it's lumber. Look at housing. I keep talking about this. There's this really wealthy neighborhood near where I live, and I watch them to get a gauge of where we are with the real estate market. And for the longest time, these 2 houses were there selling for $1.1 million, right? And these, when I say wealthy neighborhood, these $1.1 million houses are like these old, dilapidated 2-bedroom, fake kind of extra garage turned into a bedroom kind of situation that you would just tear down and build on top of it. And those are going for $1.1 million. Well, that's now dropped down to $850,000. So that's kind of my metrics. So if the wealthy areas are starting to feel that pain and that crunch, you know that the rest of the market is as well. I always say people who have a higher income feel the pressures of the economy, of inflation a lot less. However, once you start to see them hurt, that's when you know the Fed's work is actually starting to come through. And I still am of the mindset that everything they've done has just now started to be felt. All right, I think we're really going to see the results of what they've been doing come towards the end of this year and then into next year. So again, this is why I'm so strongly adamant about banging on the table about a Fed pivot by the end of the year before FSD beta is released. All right. With that said, I want to touch on Tesla Q3 earnings. I know you guys have seen a million videos of it. You probably watched our live stream. That was, I think, 4 hours long. But I think there's a big misconception, right? I think a lot of people were saying how bad it was. And it's funny because I saw Gary Black on Farzad with Tesla Boomer Mama, and he actually I asked him on our live stream, I asked Gary, okay, you're coming off very negative about this. What good did you see in it? And then he comes back onto that call with Farzad and Alexandra the very next day. And he said, okay, with that same question asked today, after he's had time to sit and reflect, there was actually some good stuff in there. And in my opinion, there was a lot of good stuff in there. So I just want to highlight a couple things that, I don't know, I think might have gotten a little bit overlooked. So let me just share my screen again. And let's take a look at some of these things. Let's see. I'm going to just scroll to the top. All right. So Q3 updates. Okay, cool. So all of this stuff has already been recapped, so I'm not even going to go into this. I just want to point out some of the stuff that I found very interesting. First of all, this negative FX impact, this isn't going to last forever, okay? So that's kind of an artificial suppressor. Now, the only reason that you don't want to lean on that fact so much is because every company is going to go through with that or have to go through and deal with that. So I kind of just ignore that. Increased average selling price year over year. Average selling price declined sequentially as the prior quarter's ASP was driven by limited Shanghai production. I'm not sure if this has been explained clearly. So in Q2, we know Shanghai was shut down. Well, in Shanghai, Model 3s and Ys are sold at a lower cost than what they are in Europe or North America or Australia, right? So the fact that they made more and they delivered more into China, well, that weighs down on the average selling price. So the actual average selling price for Tesla was about $54,300. Now in Q2, when we had those shutdowns, so you had less of those lower prices, weighing down on the average selling price, we saw about $58,000 ASP there. If you go back to Q1 when everything was open, guess what the prices were? $54,300. So that was a big mistake for all of us modeling. I think everybody who was modeling made that mistake. We all assumed, or we forgot to account for the fact that China was closed. So we were missing that kind of real average of those lower vehicles. So everybody made this mistake. Rob Maurer made this mistake. Dave Lee made a mistake. I made this mistake. Everybody made this mistake. All right. So lesson learned, we iterate our future models. We won't make that mistake. All right. So enough of that. Let's move on here. Okay. So 365,000 vehicles delivered. There's a lot of talk about what's going to happen next quarter, right? Troy Tesla believes 400,000. That's his prediction for deliveries. All right. Meanwhile, you have Zach Kirkhorn, who you could argue is the more trustworthy estimator when it comes to Tesla, says that they'll be just under 50%. All right. Again, none of this is new. You've probably seen a million videos talking about this, but it's just something to keep in mind if you do your own modeling. And the reason I'm really bringing this up is because this is kind of exciting. The street is at 435,000. Troy's at 400,000. I'm of the mindset that the street looks at Troy's numbers a lot and they try to reflect it a little bit based off that. And I hope they do. I hope the street comes down. I hope Troy stays where he's at. I hope everybody's numbers go down. Why? Because I don't want to go through the same kind of garbage we went through this last quarter where, Tesla missed deliveries. That's insane. Okay, they missed deliveries. They made the vehicles. They missed deliveries because they were trying to be more efficient and get rid of this wave. And you penalize them for that. It's just mind-blowing. So I want people to have low estimates so we can blow it out. Now, going back to Zach's comments, Zach said just under 50%. Well, that makes me think, okay, so maybe they do 45% to 49%. Something above 45% at least, or 45 at the minimum. So I think they might hit like 450,000 vehicles. I do think there will be a push this quarter. Maybe not end of quarter push. It's going to be an entire quarter push. And I think they're going to be trying to pump out cars left and right, delivering them as fast as possible. I don't know if you saw that recent video. I think it was either out of Germany or Shanghai, but literally vehicles were getting completed, coming out of the factory, going right onto trucks to be delivered. That was kind of wild to watch. I don't know how long that lasted for, that type of run, but if they're sustaining that, it's going to be nuts. All right, so this is just something that's worth getting excited about. right? Cybertruck tooling, like that's awesome. Tesla semi-truck or Tesla semi early production, that's great. And then again, robotaxi and others. Well, we got more details on the others. And again, I'm surprised that this isn't something that Wall Street ran with, right? I mean, Wall Street's been begging for this. They literally, Q1, right? Yeah, so it was after December. It was this last January. They were literally just yelling at Elon, stop talking about Optimus. We want to know about future products. And here Elon finally talks about future products, talking about the future vehicle, a cheaper model, a 2-for-1 type concept where, they want to be able to make two vehicles for the cost of one Model Y or Model 3. And no one says anything. No one asks more questions about it. Nobody goes into it. Nobody celebrates it. There's no articles about it. It's absolutely hilarious. It's honestly the most hypocritical thing ever. Oh, we don't want to hear about that now. We want to hear about that a few quarters ago. And why didn't Elon want to talk about it then? Because they're selling vehicles at $50,000, $60,000 a pop. Why would we be talking about a $20,000, $30,000 car? Like, you guys are nuts. Anyways, you're seeing me get a little passionate here. Yeah, 69 people watching. That's awesome. Well, 83 now. And I appreciate all you guys. It's a Friday evening. You guys are nuts for being on here with me, but I guess I'm nuts for being on here as well. Anyways, hopefully you guys are finding this valuable, or it's at least something that you guys are agreeing with as well. Okay, let me continue on here. There's another thing here that I thought was very interesting. Okay, yeah, here, powertrain. So, all right, so this was interesting. I think this was missed a lot. I brought this up during the earnings call because, and I was a little inebriated by the time I talked about this. So I just wanted to talk about it again. So here you see they talk about China, they talk about Texas, Berlin, Brandenburg, right? And then that's it, right? So then they go to autopilot, all this other stuff. But I thought this was very interesting. Down here, battery powertrain manufacturing. This was a very interesting line. Oh, come on. Come on, you can do it, Nick. All right, right here. Okay, well, I'm butchering this. Well, you guys can just read. This very last line, let me scroll up here. I am not doing well here. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to move myself. Let me just move myself out of the way. Here we go. All right, so this very last line says, we plan to introduce front castings and structural battery packs at Gigafactory Berlin, Brandenburg before the end of the year. Guys, this, like, again, nobody ran with this. You don't see anything on Tesla or Roddy about this. You don't see any, like, none of these articles or websites that talk about Tesla, talk about EV. None of them talked about this. I haven't seen a single thing. Yet they were the first ones to put all this FUD out there about, oh, Tesla has these issues and they ran into problems and they're not going to build batteries in Germany anymore and all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. Look, maybe they still aren't doing batteries, but it literally says here, front casting and structural battery packs at Gigafactory. All right, so something's happening here. And as far as we know, the only structural packs that we've seen with Tesla is with the 4680 batteries. And we also know that they must be stockpiling batteries, right? 4680 must be stockpiling because they're not using them in the semi-truck. And again, this isn't the deck. This is something we learned during the call. And if you saw me on the live stream, I was like, wow, I can't believe that, right? I was not expecting that. I was convinced that the 4680 batteries were in the semi-truck. So that really threw me off. Anyways, so yeah, so I think this is a big deal. I think it's a really big deal. Especially if this means that there's gonna be another line, right? So that was something that we were speculating on the call. What does this mean? Because right now I know they have one line, but they might be putting two lines in where one has the 4680 battery in the structural pack, the other one continues with 2170, and they might have, I'm just thinking this right now on the spot, they might have decided to do that because they saw success with it in Austin. Maybe that's what they're doing. And they're thinking, hey, let's keep the 2170s going, right? Let's keep that going because we're churning out vehicles left and right. That's great. In the meantime, we'll have this other line that's going slow. So this one's going fast and this one's going slow. This is really hard to do, by the way. And that way, once the 4680 batteries are ramped up and we've got that smooth and going, all right, we'll just go ahead and transition the other one. Maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know, but I think that's pretty exciting. All right, energy storage. This is a sleeping giant. I was upset though that they only got 10% gross margins on this. They had 11% last time. I modeled 13. But hey, 10%. They're making about I think they're making $1 billion. Is that math right? Maybe 100 million. I'd have to go back and look. But well, I guess I do have the shit in the deck here. I could look. Anyways, cash. Okay, let's talk about this cash. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Let me just make sure. This is cool, isn't it? I cannot wait till this is completely done. I was looking for this whenever I flew in for the shareholder meeting, and unfortunately we couldn't see it. And then just look at this. All right, we'll talk about cash in a second here because this is what I think is really bullish. Look at all these charts, up and to the right, up and to the right, just absolutely insane. All these charts look beautiful. This smoothing out the wave, that's great. Financial, okay, cool. So let me go ahead and stop sharing, and we can talk about what I'm really excited about. Oh, hey Megan. So Megan's on here. Her husband, or soon-to-be husband, well, I guess husband is the one that got me this. Anyways, so let's talk about all this cash that they have. So Tesla is printing money, right? They just put about 3.6 billion back into the bank again. And what was crazy, and again, it's funny what they pick out and they make articles about, because they ran with the fact that Elon said that they'll be bigger than Apple and Aramco combined, and he sees a clear path for that. So that's, call it a $4.4 trillion market cap. That's big, right? That's huge. That's twice as big as the biggest company in the world. And Elon's saying that he sees a path to it. And instead, CNBC, Bloomberg, Yahoo, Fox, everybody, all they do is clown on Elon. All they do is make jokes and make fun of him. Meanwhile, as you all know, it wasn't that long ago when Tesla was a $50 billion company, and Elon said, well, we will be bigger than Apple is now. And at that time, Apple was a $700 billion company. And what happened? Yeah. And if you've been watching this BBC documentary, well, remember when Armstrong and all these people from NASA were making fun and laughing at Elon about reusable rockets, or a private individual company going and docking at the space station? Yeah. Remember what happened there? Elon did it again. You remember when everybody said, oh, he's a joke. Nobody's ever going to want to buy things online on the internet or give their credit card numbers. Okay, we saw what happened there, right? It's how many times do you have to try and bet against this guy and just get burnt about it? Like it's wild to me. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent there. So what was blowing my mind that nobody talked about, nobody really brought up, is the fact that they literally said they are spending money. After they spend money on all gigafactories, on all investments, on all R&D projects, even if there's a recession and a buyback, they will still have enough money. They will still have money left over. And on top of that, and this is what I would have been writing an article about, they literally said people don't even understand all the things that we are working on engineering-wise within R&D. There are so many projects people don't even understand, and they're funding all of it. All right. Meanwhile, they still have less operating expenses than all these other companies, and Ford, GM, etc., Rivian, and they are doing all these things. They have all these supercomputers, everything they're doing with AI, with full self-driving. They're putting full self-driving computers and cameras in every vehicle. All the storage business. They're doing a buyback. I mean, it's just wild to me. Not a single article written about it. Not one. Like, it doesn't comprehend with me. So in my opinion, everything's been an overreaction. I really believe Tesla is going to pop here soon. All right, it seems inevitable. Now, this isn't financial advice. I'm not trying to predict the future. I'm just telling you what to me seems pretty obvious. It seems pretty damn obvious. It's like when you're sitting there and you're hanging out with some friends, and two friends start looking at each other, and maybe they start flirting a little bit, and you're like, they like each other, right? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Maybe that's a bad example, right? But you can tell. It's like, Or if you're walking your dog and you see another dog up there that looks a little aggressive, and you're like, okay, I'm going to use my gut instinct to be like, all right, yeah, let's stay a little bit away from that dog. He seems angry. And, it's just these like basic instincts that you have. I'm sure you guys are feeling it as well. But we have not had a reaction at all since Berlin opening up, Austin opening up, Tesla hitting record deliveries. Don't forget, Tesla hit record deliveries at the end of December. And what happened on the first trading day of January? We went up. The very next day, we tanked. So we haven't seen any real reaction from any of this. So Berlin, Austin, all the FSD progress, 4680 starting to roll out. We haven't seen anything regarding the upgrade from S&P 500, right? I mean, you can go on and on. The whole Twitter deal, once that's done, I mean, it's coming to a resolution hopefully by Friday next week. We have not seen anything. Optimus, AI Day, the shareholder meeting, talking about the buyback. I mean, Tesla announced a buyback, and what happens? The stock goes down, right? There is so much pent-up suppression of good news. This company is ran superb. You can't do better. They have no debt. They're printing so much money. They're leading in technology. They have the top engineers in the world. Like this, it just, I don't know. It seems crazy to me. All I can say is, oh my God, sorry guys about this chat spam bot in here. But if you guys want the best adult dating site, I guess you can be stupid and hit that. Anyways, it is just beyond obvious to me what is going to happen. And if Elon sees it, like you have to run with that. I love Chamath once said, and Ron Barron says it as well, like I don't really care so much about investing in Tesla per se, but it's more so in Elon that we're investing in. And that's truly how I feel. It really is. How do you not want to invest in the greatest entrepreneur of our lifetime? And yes, more so than Steve Jobs, because in my opinion, Steve Jobs did not, I mean, I love Steve Jobs. I mean, literally, he's right behind me. But Steve Jobs did not innovate the way Elon's innovated in so many different paradigms, right? Elon's done it in space. He's done it in banking. He's doing it in tunneling, in electric vehicles, in AI. I mean, it's just on and on with this guy. Anyways, I think that we're on the precipice of something big, of a big move. I really do think that. I'm sticking to my guns of a pre-split $1,200 stock price by the end of the year. That equates to a $400 stock price for post-split. And I think we can get there. I mean, even someone like Gary Black, who you guys saw him on our live stream, a very conservative guy, still has not changed his price target of $550. So, and his price target $550, think of that as 1 year out. So $550 pre-split would be what, $1,650, $1,650 per share. Now it's $550. All the numbers are there. It's just a matter of, I think, the Twitter stuff being done and maybe the Fed pivoting. But just the Twitter stuff being done, I could see us running 10, 20%. If the Fed decides to pivot, which is crazy that even has any real suppression on Tesla, because Tesla has no debt. Tesla doesn't even go to the debt markets for funding, right? So it doesn't really affect them at all. But it affects potentially demand and buyers and financing of vehicles. So that I get. But it seems like we are just ready to run. We're ready to rip. So I'm really excited about it. All right, let's look at some of the things here. Beat it, you spammer. Get your mind out of the gutter, boy. That's funny. Yeah, that's what I think. Even 1 year price target double, but Twitter is holding it back hard at the moment. Yeah, it's funny. All right, let me just put this up there. Why don't I ever know how to do this? There we go. Sorry. It took me a second to figure this out. Yeah, so I agree. I didn't agree before. I didn't think that Twitter was really holding it back, but now it's clear. Every time that there's any Twitter news, we see the stock move one way or the other. So you're spot on with this. I was wrong, and that's the thing. As an engineer, I think one of the best qualities in anybody, and especially if you're an investor, I wish more people on YouTube took this approach. Admit when you're wrong. Admit when you don't know something. I think that's like one of the most powerful skills you can have, because one, it builds, you saying that you don't know something builds credibility for you, right? It's like, oh, this person's not going to BS me when they don't know. But two, when you can own it when you were wrong about something, like that shows a sense of humility. So So, anyways, that's just life advice there. But I was wrong, and I agree. I'm with you. I'm with Gary Black. I do think that Twitter is a problem. Let's see. Do you think Twitter is a major speed bump in Elon's master plan? I don't think so. I think it's only. Honestly, I see it. It's weird. I see everything that Elon's doing. It's somehow there's like these webs that somehow it all comes together. Like imagine, just think far out. Think like 20 years down the road, right? Imagine Starlink incorporated with us and humans so we can better associate ourselves or communicate with Optimus or the vehicles. And the vehicles are leveraging in, layers and layers of tunnels underground so that they can better transport, so that we can have less friction with traffic. And then you incorporate that with Starlink so that when you're in your car and you're out camping, you can just use your Neuralink to stay communicated with everybody via Starlink. I mean, like you can just see how like these, and obviously I sound like I'm writing a sci-fi book here or Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's literally like that's what Elon's doing. And so you can kind of see how everything ties together. So I don't think Twitter really does anything to hold him back or delay Master Plan Part 3. I think Twitter is just an annoyance and an overhang on Wall Street, right? I don't really think it consumes much of Elon's time. I think Elon's just easily going to put in a CEO there and be very much micromanaging it. Very much like what he does with SpaceX. I think he'll have the SpaceX model on Twitter, especially because Twitter will go private. But I could be wrong. We'll find out. Let's see. Biden admin power leak cooking up ways to destroy Elon Musk because they can't control him, just like Trump. Expect them to use every law enforcement regulatory body as weapons to bring Musk down. Yeah, that whole article thing was interesting. But I don't. It's funny. It's interesting it's coming up now, right? Like, where was all of this months and months and months ago? And now it's coming up. Maybe it is because of Elon's tweeting. Maybe that's got them, I don't know, looking sideways. Maybe it's because we have the midterm elections coming up in, a couple weeks. Who knows? But I do think the deal's going to go through. I'd be shocked if it doesn't. Let me see. Let me scroll up here. Beat it, you spammer. Let's see. Nicholas, Tesla is in its best state ever, but honestly, people are worried short term. Do you expect some sales next week to finish funding Tesla? All right, now this is financial advice. I haven't spoken to Elon in, about 32 years. So, I don't have any insider information there. I don't think Elon's going to sell. I think Elon, remember that tweet he had talking about, don't worry, I'll take care of you guys or something like that the other day? And when he also tweeted Dos Ex Machina or something like that, Deus Ex Machina. I think that might have been his way of saying, like, I don't have to sell, maybe. I don't know. It was weird timing, but I don't think he's going to sell. I think he's tired of selling. I think he's indicated to us he won't sell in many ways. So we'll find out. I mean, I think we're all going to be on watch today. We'll all be on watch today to see if there's any selling. And who knows, maybe if he does sell, he does it the way he should be doing it, which Gary Black also talked about this, where you go to a JP Morgan, you sell blocks to them, and then they slowly get rid of it on their own rather than having a huge market reaction. Who knows? But I don't, and maybe I'm overly optimistic, but I don't think he's going to sell. Let's see. Tesla is 10 years ahead of legacy and traditional auto. They have no idea what's about to happen. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Tesla and BYD will dominate. Legacy auto is still shitting bricks. I agree. And I like that you put BYD in here because I've had this like theory for a while that it's going to be a duopoly. Like if you just look at anything that's been disrupted, right, over time, for the most part, I think you always see maybe 2, maybe 3 players, right? So like, okay, so what are some examples of this? All right, well, for the longest time, we saw like Google and Bing were like the main search engines. Right now, it's pretty much just dominated by Google. Okay, so that's not really a duopoly. Then you had Pandora come out for like music streaming. That became like Pandora and Spotify. And sure, there are more now, like Apple Music, whatever, but it's still like 3 or 4 main players. All right, then you had Netflix come out, and for a long time, Netflix had no challenger. And then you had like Prime, you kind of have Hulu out there. Now you have more challengers, but I would say that's more so because Netflix stopped innovating. Like imagine if Netflix kept making new content, they got into live streaming, right? So they got different, like news channels and sporting events, right? I think Prime is doing an amazing job there, but I think they stopped innovating. Google hasn't stopped innovating. That's why their search is number 1, and that's why YouTube is still unrivaled. But I think that happens, right? And then you have social media, right? And for the longest time, it was just Facebook, right? Well, it went MySpace, and Facebook essentially replaced MySpace. MySpace went away, and then all of our parents got onto Facebook, and so then everyone just went Instagram alone and Twitter. Right. And then Twitter was always kind of like, some people are on it, some people aren't. It was never like that mass adoption place. But now Facebook bought Instagram. So now it's just Meta. And now it's just Meta, TikTok, and Twitter, really. And again, Twitter is kind of like, most people are not on Twitter. There are way more people on using Meta, something within Meta, and then TikTok. And that's kind of where we're at. So I mean, like as I go through this, like you can see there's always like 2, sometimes 1, 3 players. So I think the same thing is going to happen in the automobile industry. I forgot the main one. Sorry. Apple and Android, right? That's the main one. Those 2 main operating systems. Apple OS on desktop and Microsoft OS on desktop. Again, a duopoly, right? It seems like anytime something innovative comes or something gets revolutionized, that's how the trend tends to go. So that's what I see happening again within electric vehicles and the auto market, especially with autonomous vehicles. I can see it being 2 or 3 players. Maybe in the States, it's only Tesla and maybe a Ford or a GM somehow survive. And then in Europe, it's Tesla and BYD. In China, it's Tesla and BYD, and that's essentially how it goes, right? There was another one I was just thinking about. Can't think of it right now. Anyways, but so that's how I see things pretty much going. So shout out to you for mentioning BYD. Let's see. I'll take this. Dead. I love you. Love you guys too. Happy you guys are getting married or are married. Excuse me. They are married. We essentially got married around the same time, but their actual wedding will be in a few months. So looking forward to going out for that. They're real fans. They watch me when they're working out at the gym, so gotta love that. Let's see. Those who write most of the articles are not looking to inform to the upside, but find something to create FUD with. Hence, we are careful where we get our news. Yes, 100% agree here. And thank you for always welcoming me to Yashu's channel whenever I join for the live stream. But yeah, so obviously this is in reference to us talking about before about electrified or all those different articles where they were just talking about all the FUD with 4680 batteries, and then now Tesla during earnings call say, oh no, we 3x month over month, and in here they say that they're going to start with structural packs and single rear and front forward castings. By the end of this year at Berlin. You just don't ever see it. It's just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. All right, let's see. All right, I think I've gone through all the comments. I'm going to go back to the top. What is the new paint color coming to? Oh, I don't know. Is there a new paint color? I know I saw the ones out of Germany, right? That red and silver color. I forgot what they called it, like cherry something maybe. But I think that's only for the Middle East and Europe, unfortunately. I don't know if I'd want any of those. You know what I'm really curious about is what they're going to do with the Cybertruck. Like, have you seen some of those Cybertrucks that are either like all black or white? I saw a rendering of one all white, and I hate to say this because my wife likes everything white, like cars and white pants and white walls and everything. And I like the Cybertruck being stainless steel, but I saw a rendering of a Cybertruck that was all white. It looked sick. It looked, I mean, that thing was amazing. Like, so that might be something we end up doing when we get our Cybertruck. which hopefully happens. I would love for it to happen next year, but my mind is thinking of 2024. Oh, and by the way, like speaking of I guess products and stuff, but something else that nobody really seemed to chime up about is 50,000 semi trucks is what the goal is for 2024. That's massive. So if you think about it, say it's the equivalent of selling, say 5 Model Ys. Say 5 Model Ys, right? That's what, 250,000 extra vehicles by 2024? Like that's crazy. Like that's just amazing. But again, you don't see anything about that. No idea why. Let's see. Is Tesla still going to sell the Model 2 to consumers, or are they betting on robotaxi only? Great question. I don't know the answer to this, but I can speculate. So I think, and you know what, let me give some supporting evidence. So let me scroll up here. But I think that they're going to do both. And the first person that actually convinced me of this was Farzad. Farzad and I were talking about it, and we were talking about how there are certain places where it's going to be really hard to use FSD, like India or Panama or Costa Rica. And I'm not trying to insult these places, because I love Costa Rica. My father was born in Panama. Some of my best friends are from India. So I'm not making fun of them. I'm just talking about their roads and their infrastructures are just not good. And so I don't know how well robotaxis will be there. Ideally with robotaxis, you can drive anywhere, right? That's the goal. But before it gets to that point, it might be a while. And so what, are you just not going to sell to those areas? No, that'd be ridiculous. But so if I scroll in here, so that was what Farzad convinced me of, right? Was with that example. But then here, if you see robotaxi and others, this others makes me think that there will be a cheaper model, more cost-effective model for the masses. And I think Elon pretty much hinted at that, right? It really seemed like everything he was talking about that 2-for-1, which I love that he was saying that. I think that 2-for-1 mentality of the vehicles is essentially what they did with the Model S and X down to Model Y and 3, and essentially what they're trying to replicate again. And it's, when he was talking about it, he definitely made it sound like it was for just a steering wheel and pedals type vehicle, not a robotaxi alone. And I think this is why we heard them say robotaxi platform, because I think the robotaxi will be built on the same platform as these other vehicles. So maybe the robotaxi ends up costing them, $18,000 to make, whereas the Model 2, if you will, for lack of a better naming convention, it costs $20,000 to make. Who knows? But I do think that they'll still make a lower cost vehicle for more consumers. Let's see. When are ICE cars considered delivered? My understanding is that they are delivered once they arrive at the dealership. So in other words, like Ford isn't actually selling their vehicles to the consumer. They're actually selling their vehicles to the dealership. That's my understanding. And then the dealership, and that's why the dealership like marks them up and everything, right? The dealership ends up selling them to the consumer. So that's my understanding. So that makes it way easier for Ford, GM, Volkswagen, for everybody else, right? Outside of, I guess, Rivian is the only one, or maybe Lucid. But yeah, so that's definitely a good call out there. And I could be wrong about that. So make sure you look that up yourself. Let's see. Okay. Let me scroll back down here. Let's see. I don't know what's happening here. Her earnings night completely ruined my sleep rhythm. Had been awake till 4 a.m. 2 nights in a row. That's hilarious. So if you guys didn't notice, yesterday was Thursday, right? Yeah, yesterday was Thursday. So I didn't create a video or anything because I was fried from that Wednesday live stream. It was. I finished off a bottle of wine on my own. I went upstairs, saw my wife. I helped her finish her bottle of wine. I was just in a good mood. It was awesome, right? We're sitting there all talking. epic live stream, had everybody on there. I just wish Alexandro could have been on there because that would have just made it, just perfect. But it was a blast. I mean, it was so much fun, but it definitely threw my sleep rhythm off as well. I didn't go to the gym the next day. I didn't go today either. So I'm all out of the loop, and then of course, you go right back into working. So I definitely empathize with that. That's funny. Let's see. Yep, Europe is a huge market for small cars. Completely agree. Yeah, like I mean, especially like where I was just at. So I was just in Greece for my wedding, and before that, the month before that, I was in Alicante. That's in Spain. It's essentially right on the Mediterranean, Spain. But yeah, like everywhere you look, it's just small cars. It's just the streets are smaller there, and so you definitely need a vehicle for that. And I definitely think that's what they're looking for. Oh, awesome! Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'll have to put this towards everybody whenever they come over to grab a drink. I appreciate this. Nick, you better not take off that bracelet. Hey, it's on. This bracelet's on. Ever since I've had this bracelet on, it's been good juju for everybody. So don't worry. This bracelet's not going anywhere. And my wife's wearing hers. So we got all the good juju going on there. Believe in the bracelet. Believe in the bracelet. If you guys don't know the story of that, when I was in Greece for our wedding, it was actually our honeymoon. We went to Mykonos, and we were at a restaurant there. And the owner gave us these bracelets that were supposed to, like in Greece, they have like the evil eye. So the idea of the bracelet was supposed to keep bad energy and bad stuff away from you. So, So anyways, we noticed that whenever we didn't wear it, all of a sudden the stock tanked. And then we put it back on, the stock started going back up. So we put the bracelets back on and we kept them on. So, let's see. Q4 will be record again. Yes, it will. Q4 is going to be nuts. Like Q4, so it's funny. I'm pretty sure we're gonna do another epic live stream like we did this last time. But for Q4, I think we're gonna couple the epicness of that live stream, and then you couple that with the monster quarter Tesla's gonna deliver. I think it's gonna be awesome. I think that's finally gonna be. It's been so long. I don't even know if I can remember a quarter where I saw Tesla stock rip up after earnings were delivered. So that might be it. We might finally get it. We might finally get that quarter. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. What else we got here? Increases they don't. Tesla would make way more revenue from robotaxis than from selling cars to the public. Yeah. So I think Warren has a big spreadsheet model, Warren Redlich, discussing this. I do potentially agree with that, assuming that, the FSD gets to the level where it would need to be for that. The only problem is if we can't have FSD work flawlessly, or, like 7 nines of, 99.999 go out 7, or I guess 5, to 5 post decimal, 7 nines total of assurance of it being good in India, Panama, Costa Rica, Thailand, right? If we couldn't have it work in those places, then I think there's a missed opportunity, because again, the company's mission is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. And so you'll have all those markets with all of these diesel guzzling vehicles that could be replaced. And so what do you do there, right? Do you wait until FSD is good enough for that, or do you deliver and fix that as well? It becomes a chicken and the egg thing. And I think Tesla's mission is what is the ground truth for that. And the ground truth says, make something where everybody can have it. Let's see. All right, this is funny. You were a straight vibe. So essentially she's saying when I was slightly intoxicated, maybe a little inebriated, that I was a vibe and I clearly look like a guy with a bad mustache. Thanks, Megan. Nah, I'm just messing. Let's see. Tidal wave and tsunami of a move to EVs by consumers. Elon aware of the opportunities. The message, affordable vehicles for the masses. Profits in numbers. It is less about the robotaxi. I agree with this as far as the messaging from this last call, if that's what you're implying. I definitely agree with this. This last call seemed very clear what the message was about masses, about affordability, about there's no demand issue or anything. I do think, though, that robotaxis are what will unlock us to get to that $5+ trillion market cap we all want. I think if you really want to see Tesla get to $5, $6, $7, $10 trillion in a market cap, or $5,000 to $10,000 a share pre-split, you're going to have robotaxis, and that's where it's going to be. The margins will be insane for that. But again, it's all hypothetical until it happens, right? Let's see. Tesla may be better selling the robotaxi to fleet operators and taking a cut of each ride. Let someone else handle the fleet management. Yeah, that's an interesting. So I know Farzad's talked about this airplane concept where it's like Boeing or Airbus. Hey, another duopoly, right? But Boeing and Airbus, their whole I guess way of selling is they'll sell the shell of it. It's like commercial real estate too. But they'll sell the shell of the airplane. It's empty. They don't sell the seats. They don't sell it with any of like Delta's colors or anything like that. And then the airlines, they go ahead and they outfit it the way they want. They choose how much space between seats. They choose the type of pillows they want, right? They do all that. What Airbus and Boeing do is they supply you the shell, the engines, the structure, and then you make it into Delta. You make it into Southwest. You make it into United. Same with commercial real estates. A lot of times, like if you had we'll just use a triple net lease just to make it easy. You go in there, it's just a white box, right? You might not even have a concrete floor. It might just be dirt in there, right? And then you go in, you outfit it, you renovate it, you make it what you want to do, right? So I think that's Farzad's concept for it. But I do like what you're saying here as far as having fleet operators do this. So like imagine all these rental car companies like a Hertz, an Enterprise, they all change their business models to just being fleet operators. And they are the ones that monitor all these robo-taxis. And then Tesla charges them to buy the vehicle. And then Tesla charges them to use their FSD license every single year, right? Every single month, every single ride. That would be pretty amazing. And then Tesla charges them to charge the vehicles as well, right? Like that'd be pretty awesome. So Tesla would get cut from selling the vehicle. They would get the recurring revenue from the software subscription, and to get the recurring revenue from every time the vehicle needs to be charged. And ideally, at that point, Tesla has solar panels in all the superchargers so that Tesla doesn't actually have to have a cost for any of that electricity. Now, obviously, there's maintenance, things of that nature, so there's a small hit, but it'd be awesome if every time they charge, it's like 90%, gross margins. That would be pretty epic. Let's see. Tesla energy in India before cars. I'd like to see that as well, especially in India. They could definitely use it, and sun definitely shines there. All right, let's see. They could get money for insuring the vehicle as well. Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's the thing about Tesla. When you talk about Tesla, you talk about the business model. There are just so many tentacles that sometimes, like obviously I just did there, you just forget about, oh yeah, they could also do this. Oh, they could also do that, right? The maintenance on them, right? If something breaks something, right? That's Tesla as well. So yeah, it's endless. All right, guys, I have a wife upstairs. It's Friday evening. I want to take her out. I want to go get us some food. I want to enjoy the week. It was a great earnings. It was a great week for Tesla. It was a stressful one with the stock price, but I think good things are ahead for all of us. I think that we're gonna be moving higher sooner than later. I truly believe this. None of this financial advice, but it just seems like we're ripe for it. It's just gonna take one thing, and maybe that one thing happens this weekend with Elon saying funding secured. All right, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you all for joining me, especially on a Friday night. Like, you guys are awesome. All right, if you guys want, subscribe to the channel. I put out videos out pretty regularly. And I really do enjoy coming on live streams, even though live streams are kind of more impromptu with me. Like I don't plan them out. It's just sometimes I'm just in the mood for it. And I absolutely love engaging with you guys. Like this makes it so much more fun. But But weirdly enough, like now I'm rambling, but weirdly enough, it's like I was waiting for it to actually get ready to go live on the time. I was like getting butterflies. I was nervous. It's like, oh man, I hope I don't say something stupid or look stupid, or like I even have my glasses here. I was trying to avoid the ring light. It's like, oh no, don't look up. So I was like, all right, I'm just not going to wear my glasses and look as old as I feel. All right. Anyways, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your loved ones. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Peace.